I'd be fucking embarrassed if I was in your shoes.
In the culinary world, Gordon Ramsay is a god. But what exactly is it that makes him so popular in the world of entertainment? Here's a hint, it's not just his food. It's also his angry, expletive-ridden insults against budding chefs.
Are we a fast food joint now?
So click that stupid subscribe button, and we'll go down Ramsay's 15 most searing insults. Chimichuck it in the bin.
Ay, ay, ay.
Puns are considered by many to be the lowest form of humor. John Oliver said, "I think puns are not just the lowest form of wit, but the lowest form of human behavior." Ouch. But not everyone thinks that. Oscar Levant once said, "A pun is the lowest form of humor, when you didn't think of it first." There's one pun in particular that Chef Ramsay thought of involving the word
chimichanga? Yeah.
He's served a crappy-looking chimichanga by a fellow chef whose talent he doesn't much respect. He says,
Now what?
Honestly, chimichanga, chimichuck it in the bin.
a pun that is quite lame, but also a blazing insult against the chef who made it. You look like you're just about to lose your virginity.
Sharon, enough's enough. I'm going to put some more makeup on.
Sometimes Gordon Ramsay wants his contestants to just chill the hell out. They are just cooking food after all, and they need to be relaxed. Of course, he's not exactly helping by putting an inordinate amount of pressure on them.
Are you out your mind?
They're there to do the show so that they can achieve their dreams, and he's walking around like a hawk, watching their every move, and yelling at folks and throwing them out whenever they make an error or fail to complete a task.
Get out, get out, get out, get out.
And then, to top it off, even though he's the one creating this environment of fear amongst the people on the show,
It's bland. No salt, no flavor, it's bland. Both of you stop. Off to a very bad start. Calm down, start again, and hurry up.
Yes, chef.
if they don't look chilled out enough for his liking, he'll insult them all the more.
Hey, what are you trying to do, lose your virginity?
It's fucking redder than your beard. Following in a rich English tradition,
And I even have the pipe to go with it.
Gordon Ramsay hates gingers. According to a particularly creepy episode of South Park aptly titled Ginger Kids, ginger-haired people have no souls.
This disease is called gingivitis.
One time, a ginger chef with a beard and a headband presented Ramsay with some chicken. This chef had already developed a reputation for cooking raw meat, and this time was no different.
It's really frustrating.
Ramsay cut open the chicken and said,
No, no!
"Raw chicken again?" Then, in his ensuing insult, he decided to bring the chef's ginger hair into it, telling him,
Redder than your beard, and look at me, it's still raw!
the ginger chef is left terribly offended and speechless. If you're looking to learn the key to a good insult, then target the aspect of your victim that they're bound to be the most self-conscious about. You guys cook like old people
We need 5 minutes. The chicken is raw.
This insult is notable for being one of the few times Gordon Ramsay didn't dish it out himself in the kitchen, but he obviously seemed to think it was pretty funny. The insult was said by one contestant to the rest of the group,
You guys cook like old people.
and what he meant by it was that they cook in a slow manner and not very well. This insult is notable for being one of the few that Gordon Ramsay didn't dish out himself. Instead, when he heard it, he laughed his head off.
And I thought, my God, that came out of the blue.
My gran could do better, and she's dead.
There's a reason why you haven't had a paycheck in 2 years.
Even in the heat of the moment when he wants to insult a fellow chef whose skills he less than admires, Gordon Ramsay can spontaneously follow the classic joke structure. He sets it up and then knocks it dead with a punchline. The setup isn't all that much of an insult here.
My gran could do better.
All you know is that the chef in question isn't as good at cooking as Gordon Ramsay's grandmother. But for all we know, she was his inspiration. Maybe she's fantastic. What do we know? We certainly don't know Chef Ramsay's grandma, but that's not all. He is going somewhere with this. He swoops in with the punchline.
And she's dead.
Maybe this chef could die too, of embarrassment. You donkey.
Wishy-washy, not even seasoned, and do you know what, more importantly, they're boiled. You donkey!
The only downside to a lot of Gordon Ramsay's insults are that they're culinary themed, so they only apply to the situations he's in at that exact moment. Otherwise, it would be great to reuse them in real-life situations.
How long do you think it might be?
Would you mind taking your breath off my hot plate?
Yeah, look at that. How can I serve food with those things there?
Because they are very creative, and more importantly, very effective. But there is one Ramsay abuse that can be used in any everyday situation. Call anyone in the world a f***ing donkey, and they're guaranteed to be offended. The way that Ramsay says this one is really funny too, because he says it with a high-pitched wail, and the word donkey just sort of trails off.
Fucking look at me in the eyes! Not as pissed as I am! You donkey! You're gonna blow fire in your face, you donkey!
It's the way you would say it if you were only just thinking of it in that moment, proving that Ramsay is a master at thinking of insults on his feet. You're a disgrace.
You, get out! You disgrace! Unbelievable! Get out! Pathetic! Embarrassing!
This Gordon Ramsay insult isn't fun and inventive like a lot of them. This one's simply filled with rage, and if he said it to you, you'd just feel cold inside. It's insults like this that cause all the controversy about Chef Ramsay's frequent use of bad language. Such criticisms have come from fellow celebrity chef Delia Smith, who's old and conservative and doesn't take kindly to anything crass.
Some of the chefs on television, some of these things like MasterChef, making everybody in the country feel cooking is something, you can't do.
As well as one member of the Federal Parliament of Australia who took offense to an episode of Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares.
Contain the F word 80 times. 80 times.
In his autobiography, Ramsay said he wasn't even aware of the ridiculous amount of swearing that he does until he saw himself in an episode of Boiling Point.
Guy puts himself in the shit the kitchen, stands there bubbling like a f***ing baby.
Ramsay was quite alarmed by it, but he himself wasn't that bothered by it, though he did add, Mum was appalled.
I said to Mum recently, a couple of months ago, when she came in for dinner, and I just said, was it really that bad? She said, Gordon, you were not my son.
You fat, useless sack of f***ing Yankee Doodle dandy shite.
It's like someone's pissed in my soup.
Gordon Ramsay is a British celebrity chef, but he's arguably better known in America than in Britain. You can't blame him for making the jump across the pond, because it's a much bigger market simply by virtue of having roughly 5 times the number of potential fans. He's presented far more shows in America than in the UK, doing Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares, MasterChef, MasterChef Junior, and Hotel Hell, whereas in the UK, he's only done the original versions of Hell's Kitchen and Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, and the F Word. But being a Brit, sometimes the Yanks get on his nerves, and he'll incorporate that cultural difference into his insults against them, like in this fine example, telling one chef,
You fat, useless sack of hanky-danky doodle shite. Will you please, yeah?
Or, as the church lady might say,
Well, isn't that special?
this is a really tough decision, because you're both crap.
Out, and out.
It's rare that Gordon Ramsay will genuinely grant somebody a compliment. He's famous for his insults. That's what's making him millions. So why would he bother with being nice? But it's not just that. In the kitchen, it's rare that he actually does want to be nice. He has a very high benchmark for the food that he eats, and if he doesn't like it, he won't hesitate to let you know. However, he does like to get the contestants' hopes up on his TV shows.
Tonight, there's no losing team.
So that when he tears them down with an insult, it's even more devastating.
Thank you, Chef, for your generosity.
Generosity, Matt. I can't seriously decide on a winning team.
Once, he set up a pair of contestants by saying, this is a really tough decision, making out like they were both so great that he couldn't choose, and then just tore them down with, because you're both crap. Like a bison's penis. What is that?
Can I get you anything? No?
A sick bag.
When Gordon Ramsay was once presented with a messy, sloppy, incorrectly cooked salmon on Hell's Kitchen, he compared it to a very different animal. And not just a different animal, but its penis. He spots it from afar and says,
What's that piece of shit there?
Supposed to be the salmon?
when you find yourself saying that your dish is supposed to be something, then you know you've gone wrong somewhere. Ramsay gets a closer look and says,
Look at that! It's like a bison's penis! What is that?
He later goes into greater detail regarding what's wrong with the salmon.
Stone cold, frozen salmon. Who put the salmon in the freezer?
Congratulations on the worst dish in this competition so far.
Melissa,
Yes, chef.
things started to happen when you got on the appetizers. You are the best of the worst.
If Gordon Ramsay ever pays you a compliment, or seems like he's paying you a compliment, don't respond too quickly.
The chicken is delicious. And yet it's spoiled by all that pepper. What a shame.
Or you might just fall into his trap. Every time the famous chef seems like he's saying something nice, he's only saying it to lead into something horribly insulting. In one such case, he set up one of the contestants in a TV competition that he was judging by saying,
Congratulations.
but they should have waited just a second, because Ramsay went on to say,
I'm the worst dish in this competition so far.
ouch. As far as TV competition judges go, Gordon Ramsay makes Simon Cowell look like a saint.
Yeah, this wasn't something that I was expecting.
An idiot sandwich.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Louder!
An idiot sandwich.
Louder!
The famous chef at this point is so well known for his sick burns that it's even become a part of his public persona. Even though this clip is a skit, it's still a stone-cold classic, so we had to include it on this list. Playing the role of a contestant is Julie Chen. Ramsay grabs 2 slices of bread, puts them on either side of Chen's head, and yells,
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich, Chef Ramsay.
The whole thing was pretty ridiculous and over the top, but one does wonder how many people viewed it and thought it might be real. You surprise me as to how you are.
You can't do worse. That's impossible.
This one is the mother of all burns. As we've mentioned before, the best Gordon Ramsay insults come when he sets someone up with what seems like a compliment and makes them all happy, and then tears them down with just a catastrophic burn. In the 4th season of Hell's Kitchen, Ramsay tells contestant Ben,
What you've done and the ambitions, you do seriously surprise me. Thank you, Chef.
then he lets that hang in the air for Ben to respond and just humiliate himself.
I was hoping you'd see that. I mean, I'd give it all I got. Give you 110.
Then Ramsay tears him down.
You surprise me to how you are.
Oh, thank you.
I was expecting more. Hey, maybe you shouldn't have quit your day job so early.
Would you like it whole or diced?
I'm just a little bit deluded.
This is a nice little add-on to an angry insult at a Hell's Kitchen dinner guest. The guest is asking Ramsay, distracting him from the table he's serving.
Why is there no pumpkin in my risotto?
Ramsay, still calm and collected, says,
You get out of the way. One spaghetti, one risotto.
the persistent guest says, I want the next pumpkin risotto.
Are you always going to be that rude and interrupt when I'm trying to talk?
But the guest just won't stop. He says,
I just want more pumpkin, that's all I want.
by now, Ramsay is at his breaking point. He tells the guest,
Right, well, I'll get you more pumpkin. I'll ram it right up your ass. Would you like it whole or diced?
classic. I wouldn't trust you running a bath, let alone a restaurant.
Welcome to the brand new and completely redesigned Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen is one of the most popular reality TV shows on Fox. So popular that the network has renewed it through at least season 18. In the show, 2 teams of chefs are pitted against each other, all fighting for the top job of head chef at a restaurant, which is all of these contestants' dream job. During your time on the show, you really feel the pressure under the watchful and very openly critical eye of Chef Ramsay. So the last thing you want to hear him tell you is,
I wouldn't trust you running a bar, let alone a restaurant.
your whole life has been spent in the kitchen, dreaming of one day running your own place. Then you get the chance to work with Gordon Ramsay on Hell's Kitchen, and you have the chance to finally achieve those dreams. And then he tells you that and crushes your whole existence. Savage. What other brutal Ramsay insults have we missed? Give us a second helping in the comments below. And don't forget to check out our other videos. Thanks for watching.